Here we go. And a special thanks to Kevin Mooney for going live all the time on his podcast. All right, it is Thursday, Core Circle Live. Today we're having a party. It's going to be pretty amazing. For those of you asking, what is Core Circle Live? It is a weekly co-created jam session where members gather to reflect, share, and learn. It's part chisme, which is gossip in Spanish, and part ritual. But today is special because we've been working on something special. We've been working on relaunching the Core Discovery Framework. Core Discovery is the kit that launched it all, an alignment framework that clarifies vision, reduces friction, and transforms client relationships through trust, clarity, and faster shared decision-making. Here is our flow for the day for this live. I'm doing the welcome right now, it's 2 minutes. The drop in, everybody's gonna drop in, the whole full circle. And Felicia and I are gonna introduce the relaunch. And after that, everyone's going to tell their core stories, any questions, and then our upload. We changed the ending. Instead of next steps, it's just chill, which is a little bit more chill. So there we go. Let's start the drop in. What has happened when you didn't use core on a project? This is a real question. Oh, my name is Jose Caballero. I'm obnoxious flaky. I am in Panama City. I am a designer, graphic designer, strategist, movement starter, fire starter, whatever all those things are. Some of the most challenging projects I've ever had are the projects where I say, hey, I can totally land that logo without any strategy or without any alignment, even if it's just directly with one person or with one client. And that always bites me in the ass. Like, it becomes so grueling to, like, you know, it's like, no, I don't like this. Can you move it over here? Can you move it over here? And it happened recently on a small project, and you just feel like a production person, like, and I get not offended, but I get hurt. It feels like they're not saying anything. I don't make it smaller, make it bigger. So there's a correlation, I think, between when I'm able to manage and have the ability to understand it better and know what it is that we're doing and align the people in the company versus it just being one person. Here's the last example, and I'll pass it to someone. When there's partners, for example, like two founders, and the one founder wants to use hierarchical, like, you know, decision making and say, look, I'm going to make all the decisions. That person gets left out. I feel bad for that person that's getting left out. And then in some scenarios, more than once, that person then back channels to me what they like and they don't like. So now it becomes like you're managing like a telenovela, and it's like, you know, very, very stressful for my own emotional well-being. As an obnoxious flaky, I'm very sensitive, believe it or not. So it hurts when I don't do it. And with that, I am complete. And I'll pass it to Felicia since you had a story earlier. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in the chat so that we can make it full screen for everybody.
Hi, my name is Felice De La Gata. My Fido is dorky, evil, obnoxious, in equal part. And I am in Panama, and I am a brand identity designer. It's a similar story to what you just mentioned. The last time I didn't use core, and I always use core, even if I kind of dose it based on the client, right? Based on the engagement. I always do at least some part of it, and the major part of it most of the time. So I always do core. But when I don't, I always end up regretting it. And the last time I didn't do it is very recently, when a client came for they needed a startup. They had a startup. They had to go out pitch to investors. So they had a deadline that was yesterday. and they needed a logo real quick because they needed a logo and just creative direction because they needed to put together a pitch deck to go out and pitch to investors and show up in a way that it was decent, because they didn't like their current logo. Against my best judgment, I had them convince me to, okay, I will just put something together for you, and we will do the pitch deck, and you will go pitching, and then after we will do the full process. But I told them I never compromise on my process because I am putting my how do you say, my name on the line, right? Like all my business is based on the trust that I have in my client that I can deliver. If I don't go through my process, my reputation is always on the line. They say, no, don't worry, we trust you, we love your work, just put something together for us and we're gonna use it. So I do that, and it turns out into 2 weeks of them turning me into their puppet, moving things around, changing colors, changing shapes, moving stuff around. And at that point I told him, I told you this would happen, now let's just get this over with. And so I had to be their puppet for a couple of weeks. The deadline was passed, and it turned out the deadline was just an arbitrary number made up for some reason. They weren't able to meet in the first place. And in the end, they walk away with a logo that they say they're happy with. 2 weeks later, I go to their website and they had their logo redesigned by another designer and looked nothing like the thing that I designed. So I got all of it happened into that. And that's why I always use core in some measure on every project, because it helps me have control, keep people aligned. In general, if people don't make time for a strategy session, if people don't make time for you to understand their business, they're not going to be, in my experience, that they rarely turn out to be clients that are worth working with. So yeah, that's my latest horror story. And with that, I'm complete. Let's hear it from Linda.
Thank you. It's been so long since I haven't used Core on a client project. But the time when the last time that I didn't use it, I have a similar story. The client just wants to have a logo, and they were fighting me on using Core, going through the discovery and the strategy process. And when we didn't do that, they ended up with something that they didn't really need. They didn't need a logo to promote their product. What they needed was to understand who their clients were. And going through Core, when you go through the process of learning how you're actually presenting to the past you, so you know who it is that needs the help. And when the client didn't go through that process, they were aiming, their target market was not who they wanted to reach. So they ended up with a logo that they liked, but it didn't appeal to their client. And I've learned since then that if a client doesn't want to go through the basic discovery process, they really don't want to deal with the most intricate and basic processes that they need to understand to actually build a successful business. So yes, that is my story, and I will choose Kevin.
Thanks, Linda. I'm Kevin Mooney. I'm obnoxious evil. I'm in Bend, Oregon, and I'm a brand architect and collector of experiments. A lot of us are talking about our client stories. I'm going to talk about my story. I am a very chaotic person. Everything lives in my brain. have a hard time putting things into a framework. And core for me has helped me organize thoughts, organize ways of understanding my client better. And I think when I don't use core, or I mean, it has been probably 10 years since I haven't used core, it was super chaotic. And there's no way for me to really connect to somebody else who doesn't speak the language that I speak, creativity. And it turns me into a production person, somebody who just takes orders and does things, and it doesn't really work super well for me. So without the framework of core, I wouldn't be able to be successful at what I do right now. That's all I have to say. Mauro, your turn.
Oh, right. Thank you. Thank you, Kevin. Okay, so I've been trying to think about one specific experience, but I think I don't have one specific that comes to mind. But let's get started. So my name is Mauro Medina. I'm a dorky, obnoxious, and a brand designer and creative director. I think mainly what has happened in the past where I have not used core is that the client ends up being the director. Very much like Kevin mentioned, you get put in a production position, and you're just going through the motions of what the client wants, and it becomes a problem because you're the designer, and you're the one that understands the brand and understands how it should function and how it should connect to their community or their clients. But all of a sudden, it becomes too personal for the client, and you don't have the tools to be able to explain to them how this needs to function, how it needs to be designed, and why it should look a specific way. So it becomes like it can turn into a really toxic relationship, because then after you're complete with that project, the client has crossed every limit, and you don't have any wish to continue with that client. You don't have any desire to do any more work because you are exhausted of having to deal with a lot back and forth. So it's highly advisable not to not to do any design work without strategy, because it is literally that armor and that shields you, and those tools that help the client, and for you to align and really be able to go through the process together, rather than having to be this combative relationship where nobody knows what they really need to do exactly. And I am complete. Who hasn't gone? Marcy?
Hi, thank you, Mauro. So, hi guys, I'm Marcelo Russo, evil, dorky, business owner. Um, I'm a Capricorn too, so I know that for many people that means something. I don't fully yet grasp what it means. But when I get the feeling, and I realize that that's for the creative part of my brain. I don't need to get everything sorted out. So I think that I have one particular, it's not a story, but maybe an analogy, because it's uh, it's been a long time when I haven't done either a bad core project or a project where I didn't manage to do something without using core. So I'm gonna start saying that I believe that using or not using core, it ends up being like a sliding scale. Um, as a professional, whenever you execute a project, you're always going to try to get it to a point where the client is happy. So there's no unhappy place in this sliding scale, but there is an unhappy place for us. The unhappy place for me, it becomes when I am so far removed from using core and using those concepts, where I become a service provider or service delivery. where it's not necessarily an order taker because my evil dorky self demands that we have autonomy and we can showcase our expertise and we know our deadlines and timelines. But at the same time, I realize that throughout all of that, I'm still an order taker. I still am doing exactly the logo that they want and exactly the website that they want without actually putting my expertise in there. We put a version of it, that expertise, but not particularly an interesting mesh between our passions, our talents, the client, their vision, and our vision. And that's where I see core landing, because the core being on the other side of that spectrum allowed us and myself to go into this strategy place. And every time we tried to do something in the middle where I push my team to not be just service deliverers, but they still are removed from core. When we did a shorter version or a shittier version of it, in our case, without someone that it's an expert at doing it, that's where we landed in a mess. That's where we landed in trying to complete a piece of a project that we promised that it was going to be in a particular way, but we never actually mapped it out to a timeline. We mapped it out to an idea. And standing in that middle, we are neither involving the client creatively and making them feel part of this co-creation process and engaged with each step of the way. And we are not able to provide a clear timeline, a clear deliverable, and a clear list. So that's where I've seen my horror stories, projects where we tell them is like, hey, we can create this magic thing for you. And my team can absolutely create that. But we have no idea that it would have taken, 3 months and we had 7 days, So those kind of moments are, I feel like bad core produces, or not doing core produces a very big misalignment with this general strategy of a client, our own strategy, and our own selves. And with that, I'm complete, because I want to go as fast as I can to tell some very, very happy stories about doing core. Am I missing someone? Feli, did you talk about?
TJ is the last one.
TJ, let's go, my friend.
Hi. Sorry, I have like two different calls in my ear at the same time, so I'm gonna try to not sound crazy. But yeah, like core was my very first proper course on design I bought, which was amazing, Jose. So thank you for that. And thank you for everyone else that worked on it. But yeah, it really made sense for me of like, it really, I'm gonna have such a hard time saying this word, but it basically put everything in step-by-step methodologies for me to understand and for me to walk my clients through. Because some of my earlier clients, they're very blue collar. They're very like they are not in the design world. So all this goes over their heads. But the cool thing with this is that through the process, they actually they actually get interested in the process. Like one of my previous clients, they were a flooring company, and all these guys, they were literally arguing about who their persona should be. No, why she has to be this, she has to be this. Like, why is she? So I just stood back and was just taking notes. I was just getting it all in, which is really cool. And then also one of my recent ones is that I use core for community. I call it the community DNA. I also added a lot of it into the deck itself, and it really helped bring the board members together. It helped informed the survey that I found out to the whole community just to get their thoughts and opinions on where they want to see their community in 5 years, how they want to communicate as a community. And it worked out so good that I'm now able to systemize it effectively. And yeah, basically I can do it in my sleep. And so now I'm using it with AI, with ChatGPT, to help me iterate on some of the ideas and some of the slides that are involved with core discovery. So some of the slides, for instance, a lot of people may not understand it. So that's where I use AI to like fill in the gaps. So what I like to do, for instance, is I like to take have one persona done with the client,
TJ,
and
you can
then
do that
one.
in the, you can do you can tell the story in the core stories. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, sorry. Am I
Like,
jumping the
we're-
gun here?
We're gonna do that next. Yeah, that's gonna be the next thing, core stories. Yeah. Right now, it's like, what happens when you don't use it?
Oh, what happens? Okay, things get fucked up if you don't use it.
There you go. That's the whole quote. We're gonna start with that. That's what we're gonna start with. Things get fucked up when you don't use it. Oh my God.
Yeah.
All right, that was hilarious. We'll see you in a second, Linda. All right, I'm gonna re-share my screen. I think you were last, and now we're gonna go into the thing. The sound will be shared. So Mauro, you can obviously share your cool video. It's amazing. You're real. I love that. I want to do one now. All right, so now Jose and Felicia are gonna present. Well, the intro. Do we need to do another intro? Do we need to talk further? What do you think, Felicia? Or should we just go straight into core stories and I'll model it?
Yeah,
Or
I
you-
think.
We should go straight into the stories.
Well, I think you could. Yeah, we could go straight into stories, or maybe you could. Yeah,
let's
yeah,
share the
let's go
website.
straight. Let's share the website and tell a little bit about what we did in the past few days and
Yeah,
how it felt.
do it.
How it felt for you. That's very.
You tell the story, because in this case scenario, technically, I am a persona in your core, which we did
Right.
recently, right?
Yes.
What you tell this story from your point of view. What did you
Well-
see that was missing? What did you push for? What help did I need as a client?
Yes. Well, I think I heard you mention, well, since I came here to Panama and even before, but recently I heard you mention how important this was for you to put this back into the world so that you could really focus on your mission. That without, basically, it sounded like you needed to really deploy a business model. So far you've been distracted to a lot of pursuits, but core has always been in the back of your mind. But for a number of reasons, maybe you can get into this more. You weren't able to do this yet. How long has it been since core hasn't been available?
8 months. February
Right.
of this year.
Right. So, for the past in the past 8 months, for one reason or the other, you haven't found time and space to do this, and I think well, core has meant a lot to me. Like if I'm here today talking to you and to everybody else here, like it's because of core. If I have what I could describe as a successful practice, but anyway, beyond successful or not successful, like whatever I did into my life and in my life, and I'm a freelancer, so there is no work-life balance. Like there's only life, and so I can say that I owe a lot to core, and so being here with you, hearing that there was something that needed to happen that I could contribute to it. It was, I didn't need any more to hear anything more. So I tried to push you a little bit and try to get out from you what is it that was needed to get to the next step. And I guess most of what I did was just to be enthusiastic to your side. We co-worked. I don't think. Yeah, it was just just being there, trying to inject as much energy as I could into try to keep you on a schedule, or just set up a few co-working sessions to go through what was needed, how to structure the new how to structure this new offer, how writing the copy, putting together the landing page. I tried to suggest a few technical solutions so that technical issues wouldn't be a hurdle to launching the product again. And we tried to make the the process as lean as possible for us so that we could launch. And then, we're thinking now about iterating on anything that we launch today on a weekly, in a weekly sprint fashion. But that is basically it. It's very simple
Beautiful.
in my eyes.
I don't have a lot to add other than gratitude and looking at it from a Fido standpoint. I'm obnoxious, flaky. Felice is dorky, evil, or evil, dorky, evil.
Yes.
If you see a diagram of how my brain works, and then Felice works very much structured in order. He even has a PC, which is funny because it's really an amazing PC. But the only thing I'll say is this: that it hasn't been 8 months; it's been like years, right? And one of there's been so many different blocks about it, but the blocks are time, space, technical limitations, all these different things, and none of those things matter other than the fact, finding the space and the time. I'll put it in a better way. Everything happens as it happens, and that the time has been now is actually the right time, right? When people ask, well, what do you mean? Excuse me, what do you mean by blocks? Validation. Like, I felt like, wow, I really need to validate. I need to really validate that this works myself, right? Doing it over and over and over and over and over again. And the reality is that I didn't, because thousands and thousands of people have been using it now for almost 12 years. But it was not about validating core myself. It was about me validating me. That oh shit, I'm Jose Abraham Caballero. I've done this, and I put this out to the world, and it's had an impact, a very marked impact. So the personal journey and the core journey are very enmeshed, and core is actually driving the entire journey, because it started many years ago when you do your own customer profiles. We call them co-creators. You end up starting to see your reality inside it, and you start creating it based on who you are. Your core statement, Felice, is actually exactly, you help rebel, kind of, I think it even has the word pirates in it, creative entrepreneurs
stay cozy in the chaos of creation.
Stay cozy in this chaos of creation and get shit done. So you're kind of almost like a shaman for people like Kevin and I, right? So that's the amazingly funny thing. All right, so that's the share, and now we're gonna go into core stories, because I'm ready. And I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna actually have you, Felice, model it. And here it is.
Yes. So recent project where I use core. So I use core discovery on all projects, as I said in the drop-in. So I think, well, the thing that core does is that TJ started saying that before, but clients just love it. Clients love the process, and I didn't have a client that did not enjoy going through core. And another thing that's beautiful is that core is so adaptable, like, because it offers a framework and the sets of exercises, right? But in the years that I've applied core to every project, I kind of start the kind of your facilitation style and your preferences, your just natural inclinations in terms of character, maybe your astrology, you would say, just Jose. It's it kind of forces you to, it gets you to kind of adapt core to yourself so that you can run it faster, smoother, you can have a better time running it. But the effect that has on clients is that they just really enjoy the process. It's the best part of the process for them. They feel like they own the result at the end. So I guess every project that I worked on has been a success because of Core. Were my projects successful before Core? Yes, but engagements were a lot smaller, and I was more seen as as doing pretty pictures. So let me think about, and as a specific example really doesn't come to mind because every engagement, but maybe in one recent engagement, as you talk to these people and take them through the exercises in Core, you kind of start understanding things about them that even if those things are not said, something is communicated through the ether and gets to you anyway, even if not through the whiteboard, whether it's digital whiteboard if you do it remote as I do, or an actual whiteboard if you work in person. And in one of the last projects that I worked on, I came up with a brand identity in the end that the client loved because while it has some symbology in it, the logo that I designed for them, that it kind of magically fell into place. It kind of referenced some things that they loved, but these things didn't directly come out in conversation. So it was kind of magically came out of all the raw materials that we uncovered through Core and refined through some of the exercises in Core. So Core is magic. It really is magic. Sometimes like inexplicable things happen in projects at times. And beyond that, again, all my design career is based on Core, or having used Core. Without Core, I probably wouldn't be even here talking today. And with that, I'm complete. And let's hear it from TJ.
All right, I'm on topic this time. But yeah, like Felice say, clients that at first they're hesitant, but once they go through the process, once they understand, once that light bulb goes on, then they're like, oh, okay. Then they start to become invested into the whole process and they take ownership over the process. Like I was saying earlier with the flooring clients, they were having little arguments amongst themselves on how the client persona should be, who the client persona should be, where this person went to university, how many kids this person had. They were actually having arguments over this made-up person, which was so fun to see. And because that means they're taking ownership over the process. And recently I used it for a community development. So the issues were that the community as a whole was not aligned. There was upset with the board. There was communication errors everywhere. The property management company wasn't communicating effectively. The board members weren't communicating effectively amongst each other. So I used Core Discovery, which I called it the brand or community DNA. And it basically brought everyone together on the goals of the community, how the community wants to be functioning. It informs the decisions on what questions to ask on the survey. And also it just really smoothed over the process. So as I was talking earlier about the personas, I developed one persona with the client, and then I developed another persona using AI just from all the information that I gathered. And then I take the two personas that I use with AI and then with the client, and I combine those two together to create the third persona. So that way and also with the survey results as well. So that way we had a broader view of who the ideal community member is. And so that really, it was kind of creepy because it kind of had a little bit of everybody that lives inside the community in it. I can share it in the community, the decks, but Yeah, it was interesting to see. It was like a interesting mad experiment that I did, and it worked out fantastically, and it informed my logo decisions and informed my the process for creating the overall brand essence, the brand guide for the community itself. Because this is a mature community. I think it was developed in the late 70s, so well before my time. But we are now bringing it into the 21st century and beyond. So it just needed an update on how we communicate and how we did things. And so then with that, I built the Circle community, and that everyone is thriving on, and everyone's is now basically considered a community utility, that this is a needed asset for the community. So without that, without core discovery, all that, we would just be shooting in the dark. And a lot of people were saying, like, how did you do this by yourself? It's like, well, I had tools. I had the teachings from core discovery. I had the guidance of Jose and everybody in the system community. And yeah, I just had my own intuition, and I also kept it simple, but I also kept it in a way where the most logical answer is probably the correct one. And it's funny that now people are embracing it. And yes, AI is my co-pilot. It's basically like people are saying, TJ, why are you single? I was like, am I single though? Because I got AI. So there's that. But yeah,
You're veering off topic. This is not a dating testimonial, but
I
yes.
know.
Hi,
But yeah,
I'm TJ. This is my core.
This is my core.
Actually,
yeah,
core
like-
for dating would be awesome. Core for dating, just to be clear.
That would be interesting to see.
Land your spaceship. Land your spaceship.
So landing my spaceship is that, yeah, core discovery was really instrumental. Like Felicia said, that I wouldn't be here today if I didn't take core, if I didn't learn about core, because it's basically the process I use with all my clients, big, small, beginner, matured. It is a process that I use on a daily, even for my side projects. I use it with AI to like help me formulate the ideas, formulate the essence, the core DNA of the ideas and the brands that I want to work on. And with that, I am complete. And I'm going to pass it off to Ms. Linda. Come on now. Linda, you're up, my friend.
I think she's in the
she
car.
gone?
Yeah, she
Oh,
left.
okay. Well, then I'm going to pass it off to Kevin if you haven't gone yet.
No, I have not gone yet. I'm Kevin, Obnoxious Evil, Bend, Oregon, collector of experiments. I use core on every single project that I have. I recently used it in a fractional CMO role where there was a pretty big disconnect between leadership and the rest of the team, mixed with outdated visuals and probably some outdated practices in there. And I think the part that I want to highlight is that from an impact perspective, core has taken the pressure off of me, and it puts all of that pressure onto the information that is discussed in the workshops. And that's huge from this side of the table. And I think it's also huge on the other side of the table. It's huge on this side because now it's no longer me creating an identity or suggesting marketing techniques or campaign methods, whatever that thing is. The data is telling me this. The goals, the brand, the target audience, this is what these things need. Your audience needs this. I'm not telling you to do it. And then on the other side of the table, they realize things about their business that they've never realized before because they probably never said it out loud. They just said to somebody across the table that our audience is this, our goals are that. Oh yeah, it makes complete sense that we should be doing these other activities. And so I think the biggest impact that core has for me, setting all creativity aside, is that realization that the pressure is no longer on me, or it's not me dictating something to them. And that happened in this example. You take on a fractional CMO role, and some people might think now it's time to be the dictator and tell people how it's done. And I decided I was just going to lean on core to help me through that and help them through that process. And the client in this particular example, they're a direct primary care practice here in Bend, Oregon. When I presented the identity to them, they cried. And that is because I was able to extract things from their brain. Felice, you had said this. There's some information that passes through this membrane that wasn't said directly, and I was able to hear that and express that for them. So they're happy, and they realize that their audience is going to connect with it even better than they connect with the practice itself now. So needless to say, they were stoked. And that to me is core discovery. You don't have to use every exercise. You do have to think through what you're doing and interpret that and translate that. But the pressure is off. And that's something that has impacted not only my clients, but me through the last 12 years of learning this. With that said, I'm complete. Marseille, you're up.
All right. So I think I may be the only one that is not an actual practitioner. So I'm gonna bring a quick little story, right, about myself doing my core with Jose, and also with one of my clients. So my name is Marcelo Russo. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Friends Agency, evil, dorky, Capricorn, and really, really shitty Fortnite player, probably. So with that being said, recently we were working with a TUSE, an architecture firm here in Miami, and their characteristic is that they really deeply care about sustainability, environment, and having an impact in the community and being mindful about it. Since I said I wasn't the one running this session, the session was run by the real pros here, Jose and Feli. I got the opportunity to actually see core from an external angle and external point of view, where in the past I've been trying to run core myself, and I mentioned before that I am not the best practitioner at it. I'm into structure and to the point, rather than trying to opening up a conversation. But by having had my personal core run in the past, I feel like that had a tremendous impact. And I'm gonna start saying, because it was a tremendous impact for me as a person, but as well as a huge impact for my client when I saw that being performed with them in this co-creation safe space that we've done. Because the first part that was the most curious about everything is the fact that this client was an exact type of client that was reflected during my core exercises, where I found who are my co-creators or co-conspirators here when I'm trying to build and create something. This client suddenly pops up out of the ethers, being almost to the T what we have designed with Jose. And that plays a part a little bit later on. But second, I think that the core had a tremendous impact for my client when they were going through the exercise. And I think, TJ, you were mentioning it before, it's a self-discovery process for themselves. And they were, I think the best term is bickering, but it was like a constructive bickering, because this was a family and they were talking amongst each other in a very personal way about how do they see their customers, their personas, their business, and how each one of these elements kind of like connected to each other. So they along with the facilitation, were realizing how difficult and clarifying the difficulties that they had when communicating with their audience, and discovering that suddenly there was a different way that they needed to communicate, and how some of the voices in their communication in their company have been muffled by the different personalities, while some others were amplified, but in the end not producing the results that they wanted. So for me, seeing it from the outside, that was kind of like seeing them cross a doorway that they didn't even know that it was there. So suddenly the process was like, look, people, here's a door. And it's like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that the door was there. And then they collectively were just kind of like pushing the door open and letting the light shine in. And once they stepped through, collectively they allow themselves to dream, to visualize, to create a safe space for the other person, to feel represented and be present in this co-creation process. But as I said, being the outsider and like a smaller version of a facilitator, it was amazing to see them, each one of them, suddenly come into their own expertise, from my teammate to Jose to Felice to my client, both of them and their son coming into the light and letting themselves be pretty much themselves, right? It's like, I know that that may sound redundant. And circling back to close this short story with how it impacted in my core, in myself, one of the things that I came to realize as I was going through that process is that my vision for what I want to do for myself is create a bridge where I can bring opportunities to Latin America from the US and showcase how awesome is the talent that is currently, in my opinion, lying dormant there. And in these sessions and through this process, I had to become more comfortable being just a conduit, a vessel, or a bridge between the talent that was being present in all of these calls from my team, Jose, and my client, and the solutions that we were facilitating. And with my personality of Capricorn, evil, dorky, and the mix of all of those, it allowed me also for myself to show up in that particular way, where I could become the organizer, the orchestrator, and help everyone like stay in touch with the deadlines and the deliverables, and keeping connected with the client. And of course, in the end, get everyone across the finish line without having to actually worry about what are we really delivering. I knew that everyone had that perfectly clear. And I was just like moving my hands and letting everyone play their song and do the jazz or do the salsa in our case, because we're all Latinos. So it's like play this improvised salsa that ended up becoming a beautiful song at the end. And luckily, I think that I opened up everything, also talking about like the failure of core. I think of not using core. I think that this is the example of what happens when you use core at its maximum expression. Customers suddenly becomes those true partners, those true friends that they cannot wait to say, please, let's create some other opportunity, some magic. I don't care. I don't care what it is. I just don't want this to be finished. I need to do more with you. And oh my God, that was like revelation for me. So with that, guys, I'm complete, and I'm realizing that I am being shined by the sun bathed. So allow me to be enlightened for a minute. So I'm gonna pass.
Ah,
I'm gonna pass the baton to Feli.
Mauro.
Maurito.
Oh yeah,
Maurito.
Mauro. Did you go already, Feli? Yeah, he went first.
Yeah.
Mauro, you're last but not least.
Alrighty. Thank you, Marcy. Okay, my name is Mauro Medina. I'm a creative director from Ensenada, and I am an obnoxious dorky. Okay, so what impact did Core have on me? So I think me and Core go way, way back, almost the beginnings of Core, with Jose. So I've seen how it's changed, 15 years exactly. So it's been a long road. I think there's been a ton of learning. It took me a while to really kind of get the hang of Core, understanding it, and having that ability to deploy it with a client as well. But I think the biggest impact that I've had with Core it's that ability to create those really in-depth relationships with my clients. I think running core with them has always yield benefits after the fact. And so it's been this point of deep understanding with the client, and it's like being able to really become almost part of their team as you're doing the core, as you're doing all this process, all this design process. And they feel like family, they feel like friends. All of a sudden it becomes really friendly. And I think that's one of those things I really value when I do core. I think one of the biggest successes is when I deal with difficult clients, when it's a group of clients, and everybody has different ideas and different beliefs, and they have an idea of where their brand needs to go. But getting them into core and through the process and walking them through it, it's always amazing. It always amazes me how much everybody comes together, everybody aligns, everybody becomes super excited, and they're so willing and so open to new possibilities that I've never used any other process that can achieve that connection with the client. And I think that is extremely powerful. We've heard all these stories about clients crying and clients being incredibly thankful, and it is absolutely true. Like I've had the same with my own clients as we're going through the process and then getting to the final deliverable of the brand and the identity, and it's just like, this is incredible, this is amazing. And after they got through that journey, it's yeah, I think it's highly rewarding. And I'm complete.
Wow, thank you. This is I'm gonna cry. I appreciate everybody sharing. Marce, I know you have to go. Amazing brother, so much love. One thing I want to say before you go, so me and you, you were the first MyCore client, and my thesis has always been that, my theory has always been that people, you don't know core until you do core for yourself. Papa and I have a different saying that goes with that, but you don't know core until you do core with yourself. And the metaphor is that if you don't go deeply into yourself, you don't understand how to use it for your clients that way. Does that make sense? Like, it's hard to, you know, because now it's not a company anymore. Now you're dealing with the individual people and their aspirations, their goals, their needs, especially when you're doing SMBs. And then in your core, we discovered your core, MyCore has personal development exercises in it that core doesn't have, and maybe we should start including them. But the reality is that by me knowing that you have this mission to bring a spotlight on resources and talent, creative and development in Latin America, and then suddenly I'm like, wait, I have the same vision, and I'm here in Latin America now, and like, okay, and then Mauro has been doing what he's doing in Mexico, and you know, and this is not necessarily about Latin America. This is about the alignment that has started to happen and an understanding of who people are. And because of that, and you become friends, you become real friends. This is not a transactional, like, oh shit, you know, there's real love and affinity, which is what you achieve by including people in the process of designing. Anyway, the point is that now all of our stories are beginning to be intertwined, and we're all sharing it on Kevin Mooney's podcast. And, you know, this happened, you know, it's all like, you know, TJ's running our community, but then he's also doing, you know, Brand Builders Alliance. And now, you know, we're going to do, you know, things with them. It's like core is magic, basically. And I'm going to go to the last slide, our upload. Oh, that was my upload. So I'm Jose, I'm in Panama City. What do I do? Aside from being the creator of core, I'm actually a weaver. Like, I'm actually weaving things in this broad kind of spectrum and seeing how it impacts the world. But my biggest takeaway from today's session was this: it was love. It was like, holy, and really, took some notes. I learned like now I have all these slides for core because it is about inclusion. It is about designing with data, you know, the brand, audience, and goals. It's about not feeling like you're taking orders, you know. And then I realized core CO, and we talk about co-creation. It's a co-creation engine. Core is a co-creation engine because everyone is included in the creation of what's coming out. So the designer doesn't get left out in the To-Sell website. We put our input in it, and we saw them, and they saw us, and they're like, "Wow, you guys are giving us a deep probe of our soul, not just like a website." Because who needs a website nowadays? Like, who needs a website? You need to connect with people, and you need to grow your ideas and grow your business, but the website is a component of it. Anyway, I'm super appreciative and grateful. I got so much out of today, and I'm taking away just so many insights, and I will pick Marce since he's leaving.
There we go. There we go. I moved out of the light because I couldn't see anything, but I have to, like, I'm gonna start again. My name is Marcelo Russo. I'm co-founder and CEO of Friends Agency and Evil Dorky, Capricorn, and many more things. Aside of being bad at playing Fortnite, I'm also really good at horrible games like the Souls series. So anyone that wants to have that conversation, I will invite them. It's as painful as real life, but as rewarding, a little bit more rewarding because it's faster. I think that I have to agree with Jose. If you're the weaver of all of this group and everything that is happening, I personally will see you as one of these enablers, people that can pull things from the ether. I realize that I'm kind of like that conduit that then when things are starting to fall from the ether, I like to grab them and funnel them really structurally into the places, and I tend to get a little bit evil on my side of the patterns when I don't get to see that view. And I used to feel before my core, I used to feel that was not conducive to. It was not valuable in the space of business, because in my head it was very easy for anyone that sees all of the beautiful pieces that Jose can pull to, is like, hey, now let's make a project, let's make something happen with this. And then suddenly I realized that that's my space in the world. I know that I can do that beautifully, and without neither hindering the people that are creating this vision and being, but at the same time enabling them with the capacity to know, it's like, hold on, maybe you are going way too crazy, and then you're gonna bite more than you can chew because we have this amount of time or this objective to fulfill. And I've realized that ends up putting people at ease, because when I stepped into the light of talking more and engaging with people, some people are really looking for this organization. So what I took out of today's call was, again, hearing so many success, so many. You mentioned crying. I think that it's feelings, right? It's like the feelings that running a successful core produces in people is not something that anyone is expecting. And that's why the feeling suddenly arises, because you are, at least for me, we are selling a service. We are providing something that someone expects an outcome, and suddenly they find themselves with an outcome so powerful and so moving that they were not expecting it. It's like, oh my God, this is the real over delivery. It's like, of course, I'm going to get an awesome brand, a great design, clarity on my message, but I was not expecting to get this connection. I was not expecting to get these insights about myself. And here we are. Everyone keep on sharing this awesome success. And I'm complete, people. Love you all. Oh, and I pick, this time it's gonna be fine. So I'm gonna do Felice, because I keep on picking Feli, and he's been 1 minute before me.
Thank you, Marcel. I'm a Sekiro speedrunner, by the way, if you want to talk about it's from Soft Games one.
We need to do that, man. Definitely.
Yeah. What I got out of this call is that it's good to be part of something. Like hearing all these similar stories. Yeah, it's good to be part of something. I've been on some of the recent projects within the community that we worked on with some of Marcia's clients, for example, and I heard the first stand from his client saying that we didn't think we didn't think a project like this could be so enjoyable. We're sorry that we're done. We want to do more. I don't usually like any of this, so like the client cannot explain like how is it that they enjoyed the core process so much. So it's just confirmation over and over again that core works. Core is magic, and it's magic for me. Like I ended up in Panama because of core. I mean, so I really owe a lot to the framework and now to the community, to all you guys amazing people who have been inspiring me, like and to push myself out of my comfort zone and do what needs to be done in the business. Will this get us off the YouTube if I say don't bitch about it too much? Just do what you need to do, and don't make too much drama around it. That really is being with you every day, talking through things, and using core on myself with my core that I'm about to complete soon, by the way. So we'll have to celebrate that sometime soon. Yeah, I think, I don't know. I think it sounds kind of crazy to say, but I owe core a lot. I wouldn't be where I am today if I didn't cross paths with it. If I didn't start using it, it would be a totally different life for me. So it has had that much impact on me, and it's good to be here with you guys, and it's good to be part of something. And with that, I'm complete. Mauro, you want to go next?
All right. Thank you, Felicia. Oh my God. I'm sorry. I keep messing up your name every time. Felicia. Okay. My biggest takeaway from today, I think it's amazing to see how a design framework has affected everybody's lives in so many different ways. I think when I think back to 15 years ago, yeah, I don't think I'd be where I'm at if it wasn't for this deep understanding of this other integral part of design that core is. I think it made my job a lot easier, a lot more enjoyable. I think it made me understand the value of the clients, of the work, of my relationships by using it and hearing everybody's accounts. I think everybody thinks the same. I think everybody feels the same. And it's kind of interesting and amazing to see it and to hear it from everybody. And I'm nothing but absolutely thankful for me being part of this community and having the opportunity to have learned this framework. And I am complete. Kevin.
Thanks, Mauro. I'm Kevin Mooney from Bend, Oregon, Obnoxious Evil. Takeaway. I think it's more of like validation or realization for me. I think my biggest problem in probably anything that I do, personal or professional, is that I'm too damn close to the thing to see some of the bigger picture. And being in this group and going through the process, using some of you find people as my guinea pig to, you know, come on my show or just talk to in general, has really helped me at least take that next step. And I guess where I'm going with this is like connectivity, right? That's the takeaway from all of it. You know, I don't think I made a huge leap in my career in the last year, I would say. But I don't really care about that part of it. It is this thing that I've been seeking and searching for, is like-minded individuals and this type of community, and the ability to just say whatever's on my mind and share things like my personal process, how I've adapted core and what I do. Share these bits that are behind the scenes that no one's ever seen besides the client who gave me money to do the damn thing. Sharing my presentation a few weeks back, nobody has ever seen that before. And that was really cool to do. And to see my fellow creatives' reaction from that was also really, really cool. So I think the main takeaway again to this is this togetherness and collective and connectivity aspect of it all. I think it's been really great, and I appreciate everybody for being a part of that, and of course Jose for creating this 15 years ago. It's crazy how the circle comes around and continues on down the road, and I'm happy to be here 15 years down the road, even though I knew about this and I never decided I was going to reach out to anybody. Right? I thought Jose was not somebody that I could get in contact. He's on YouTube. Look at this guy. How am I going to talk to him? Right? And being a part of some of these other communities in the world and not feeling the same way that I feel here, I think that says something really big about what's going on. So I know there's a lot of mixed thoughts in there, but that's my takeaway for the day. And TJ, I think you're next.
Hey, thanks, Kevin. I'm TJ from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. My Fido is Evil Obnoxious. I'll get on camera too. So yeah, this takeaway was awesome, hearing everybody else's story about how Core Discovery helped them in their client's process and also the creative process. So it's like an underlying thread of getting to the root, the nugget of the, sorry, I'm going to keep on calling it the brand DNA, because like that's, to me, that's what makes the most sense, is we're getting to the DNA, the essence of the brand. And with Core Discovery, that's how you find the core, really, is you're discovering, you're burrowing to the nugget, to the core of it. So yeah, it's really cool hearing everyone's stories and just seeing how many different applications people have for Core Discovery. And I'm sure that there's can be multiple applications for it, like even for app design to community design to brand design. But also, who knows, maybe like with MyCore, our personal brand design as well, and who we are as people. So it's versatile, it's fun, and I'm gonna try to get Jose to speak about it in the BBA community. I'm gonna wrangle him in, and to get people, it's basically spread the idea of Core Discovery to all these other brand designers. Yeah, it was cool. Glad to be here with all you fine folks. And with that, I'm going to pass it off to who has not gone yet.
I think that's everybody. I think that is
Sweet.
everybody's upload. So thank you guys for being here. Thank you, TJ, for always. Kevin, like what you think is rambling made so much sense. There is a electronic music group called Girl Talk, which I don't know if you've ever heard, but you should check it out. And on Spotify. But then there's this idea that you have to be straight line and to the point and transactional in all conversations, that this flow of just talking and like, you know, feeling things and saying what you feel is so antithetical to the world we live in, also to masculinity. So that's why Girl Talk is such a powerful band. We're done. Mucho amor. With my uncle Walter Mercado used to say when he was alive, and chorismagic.com. Those are the. I found another one, not for a URL, but show me your magic, from when Kevin was speaking. Show me your magic. That's like a real good sticker. So that's it. This is the part of the call where we just chat and there's no agenda, and we're done. Thank you, Felice. Thank you.
Great job, guys. You guys crushed it.
Yeah, this
We're
is
doing
cool. This is great.
Mauro,
Is the
thank
site
you.
up live now?
It's gonna be live pretty soon. Here, I'm gonna do something here real quick. Please
Yeah,
hold.
you have the Webflow link.
Yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead and put that link in there.